Hello, everybody. Intuition here. Thank you, as always, for making time and space for us. Today, we would like to talk about your inner child. You know, there's a little child in there, and that inner child has been throwing tantrums and getting behind the wheel of a big rig. And you, as the adult, have just been allowing this little inner child to run away with a lot of your behaviors and thought processes. So some of the things in which we would like to discuss is the idea of your inner child. And though we do not necessarily see it as the way that it is framed, this inner child is an aspect of yourself that resonates with a certain time period before or during a certain area of trauma in your life, though we don't necessarily see it in that way, we see it as an energy that is a very important energy for you to get in touch with and have access to. Because this energy is a part of you, obviously. But when we say this energy is a part of you, it is a part of you that becomes dormant, that you put in a box and stow away, deep within the recesses of your mind, deep within the recesses of your energetic frequency and vibration. And why that's problematic is because that energy is solely responsible for carrying breath into your life. Without the inner child, as you call it, the freshness of breath, not literally, the freshness of breath, meaning breathing new life into you, is rendered dormant. It gets in the way of you being able to have that enthusiasm, that joy, that curiosity for life, because that is what that energy really represents. That inner child is really the ability to be able to touch into the curiosity that's needed to live this life in the fullest way that enables for your expansion of self. So what we see happen is this idea is when you get older, what you are told societally, environmentally, through your peers, through your family members, is you put away childish things. It doesn't matter if you're a boy or if you're a girl. You're told to stop playing dress up, stop playing with the G.I. Joes, put them away. And because you put them away, that is a mark of you growing up. That is a mark of you growing into a man. That is a mark of you growing into a woman. Men and women don't have time to play. Men and women only have time to work and be productive members of society, whatever in the hell that means. But that is the sole function and responsibility, and you sure as hell can't do that if you're being childish. And so you're told to put those parts of yourself away, put away those childish things, so that you can transcend into an adult. And so what we do literally is put those things away, but figuratively we box that energy up. We put it far away so that we don't have to deal with it. It becomes an exile, so to speak, of who it is that you are trying not to be, who it is that you inherently are, but feel is unacceptable, and then therefore gets exiled into an aspect of yourself, a shadow aspect, if you want to call it, a place and space in which you don't engage with. And you think, well, that's the end of that. Now I'm an adult. I don't play dress up anymore. All my G.I. Joes are gone. And now I wear a business suit to work, and I drink coffee, and I do all the things that adults do. But unfortunately, that is not the mark of an adult. That is the mark of a half person. That is the mark of not a fully integrated human being, because you are walking around with half of your energy system completely in a box, thrown somewhere else so that you don't have to deal with it. And so the mark, the true mark of being an adult, of being a man or a woman, is not putting away childish things, but to make enough space for that child, for that energy to be at play all day. That is the mark. To allow that child to be safe enough within yourself, the adult, to play to be curious, to explore, uninhibited by the boundaries and social constructs that would try to have that eliminated within you. And well, you might say, well, if I allowed that inner child to play, I'd get nothing done. The child would be playing. The child would be outside, playing imaginary, playing Ford, playing princess, playing prince, whatever. But don't you know that the only reason why children play is for connection? Children don't play just to play. For children, that is the only way that they get to connect and feel close to their peers. So because they don't have, I don't know, a social construct or an understanding on a societal or environmental level of how to connect, the only way that they know how to connect is by playing with and within their environment, to manipulate it, so that they feel connected to it and have a better grasp and understanding of it. And so if you allowed that inner child to have the space it needs to be at play, it's not as if it will just be playing all day. Because on some level, you are still the adult and you know how to connect and foster that connection, even if that inner child does not necessarily have the tools to do that yet. And that is what we talk about in the sense of making enough space for that child to play and feel connected. Because as it plays, you connect and you regulate, down-regulate, as the inner child up-regulates, and you meet in the center to create a balance within both of you that allows for you to be your whole self, which is important. One might not think so, but when you're not your whole self, a lot of issues start to happen. When you're not your whole self, you start trying to fill up on other selves. Because when you're not your whole self, you feel an emptiness within you, and you start looking in all the wrong places to fill that emptiness. Alcohol, people, sex, drugs, whatever. All in hopes that that will fill up that space that is already and can be filled up and needs to be filled up by an aspect of yourself that you have pushed away. So the mark of a true adult, as strange as it is simply incorporating that inner child to be alive within you and giving it the space, the safety, and the freedom to be able to do that in a way that it is not shunned, told that it's bad, and then therefore pushed away energetically, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, that leaves you half a self. So when you allow that aspect of yourself to come to the forefront, not run your behavior, because that is exactly what happens when you push that aspect of yourself away, is that eventually that inner child comes back and it starts taking over, not playing fairly, because you haven't been playing fairly to begin with. It starts taking over with the sense of you becoming more reactive in your daily life. You feeling as though you're not in control of yourself as much. And again, that is really just your inner child tapping into the certain control mechanisms that they know that they can tap into because you're not paying attention to them anyway. So we say all this because it is important for you to understand yourself. Because if you don't understand yourself, what the hell do you understand? If you don't have the basic foundation of understanding the structure of who you are, what good are you out there in the world doing things? Nobody needs another half of self walking around out here. Well, there's too many, much too many. And here's a good indication of whether it is important to allow that inner child to have more space and freedom to play. Are you holding on to a lot of nostalgic crap? Do you still have that class ring, that pair of jeans that you had in high school? Are you still sitting around and playing video games all day? And it's not to say that those things are bad. But if you have an over-identification with that, then that means that that is the only way that you allow your inner child to come out and play. And the problem with that is not that you're doing those things, but in the sense of if that's the only time where when your inner child comes out to play, then as soon as you stop doing that, then you also stop playing with your inner child. Which means that it's only safe for you to come out for 1 hour of the day, but then you need to get back in the box because there's not enough space for you. And that is detrimental to both you and your inner child, to both you and that energy that is needed for you to have that breath of life inside of you to be curious enough to live, so to speak. Because again, if I'm only allowing this much of myself to be my full self, then as soon as I put that away, I feel empty. And then I become over-identified with that video game, over-identified with those pants, over-identified with that class ring, and not what it is that it gets me in touch with. So that becomes problematic because then we hold on to these things that aren't really the things that we're trying to hold on to. And we can become confused and get upset when other people have an issue with us holding on to these things that we're not even really trying to hold on to. They're just a connector to what it is that we're really trying to get in connection with. So, as always, do with that what you will. Just some potential assistance for you to know yourself a little bit better. As always, we're full of gratitude for you making time and space for us, and we wish you well getting to know that beautiful inner child, that beautiful energy that is dying to come out and expand within you so that you can also expand within it. Not for it to take control over you, like we're assuming it usually probably does when you least expect it to. Well wishes to you and your inner child and that energy that is necessary for you to continue to be all it is that you can be.